Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to the Poetic Inklings of Tomorrow. Finally back after a couple-week hiatus due to the holidays. So this is the first episode of Inklings in this new year. Poetic Inklings is brought to you by A Poetic Slice of Life, which is a poetry group located on allpoetry.com. And is also owned by my lovely wife, Kay, who is sitting next to me multitasking.
Sorry. Hello.
No need for apologies. It's what you do. I'm her Wesley, even 76. Allpoetry.com is a website where you can come and share your writes, have some fun. I want to thank Kevin and his crew for keeping that site up and running, giving us some place to hang out. Definitely appreciate that. Tonight on Inklings, since it was on vacation for a couple of weeks, I guess it decided to go to Africa because it brought back the book out of Africa with it.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Kay had to make sure I was unmuted.
Yeah, sorry.
So I think it would have showed up on the board that nobody heard anything.
I don't know. You never know. I just need to see that acknowledgement.
All right. Let's see. Was there anything else I had to say?
Well,
I know you had something you wanted to say.
Well, yeah. We should also just give that little tidbit that everybody that gets read today, we have permission.
Yes, we do. Written permission. Anybody who isn't here to read their own stuff and we read it for them, we did get written permission. The song, by the way, was...
The song was String Quartet number 12 in F major.
Which is a public domain song, so we are allowed to use that.
Yeah, because that was definitely before the 1900s.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say real quick that tonight I wanted this topic because both the book and the movie Out Africa is a big deal for me because I've read the book many times. I've seen the movie God knows how many times. But this was written by Karen Blixen, but she went under the pen name of Isaac Simpson. And this book was written in 1937, and it recounts her time of the 17 years that she lived in Africa, in Kenya, on her coffee plantation. She first moved there when she married her husband, but of course that fell apart for its own reasons. She moved there at the age of 28 to marry her second cousin. But then she decided to still stay on and work the land even after the marriage fell apart. And the book was basically her paying respect to her time there on the plantation and paying respect to the people along the way that meant a lot to her heart while honoring the country as well. So it's a beautiful book. If nobody has read it, you should do yourself the honor of reading it because it's a very beautiful book.
I've only seen the movie.
And the movie is awesome as well.
I should read the book.
It is. I will say real fast that the book and the movie are two different ones because Robert Redford's character in the movie Out of Africa was prettied up a bit because he did love her, but he kind of was just like her husband. They both could not keep it in their pants.
Yeah.
But he still loved her, but it was a complicated relationship. And, of course, when he passed away, she never did move on. She never remarried. She never had another man in her life because he was the one for her. And before he passed away, they did have their own understanding.
Yeah.
So it was a love that was very deep and profound, despite the flaws.
Cool.
So without further ado, I'm going to shut up and pick up our caller.
All right. And we do have Raz on the line. Hello, Raz.
How you doing, Stephen? This is another great night to talk poetry, huh?
Yes, indeed.
That book Out of Africa, I never read it, but I did read Born Free, which is about a lion tamer and the struggle of trying to maintain a relationship with the other species, which was a classic that was forced upon me when I used to go to school.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we had to read when we were in school.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a good thing because it forces you to expand your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Learn new things.
There are definitely things I had to read in school that I wasn't happy about having to read. But there were some things that I enjoyed reading too. I would have never read The Stand possibly if it wasn't for my reading teacher saying, "Hey, we're going to read The Stand."
Exactly.
You actually read The Stand by Stephen King?
Yeah.
That was one of your assignments going to school. That's one of the greatest books of all time that was written in the modern century. Stephen King's best. Start to finish, the whole 1,000 pages is worth the description of what the world would be like if Captain Trips really took out 99% of the population, and the struggle of our souls with the remaining survivors who were immune to the actual virus. That's a great literary tale.
Yeah, one of these inklings will probably have to focus on that book.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of great books. There's many.
I read
many
that
great
one
authors.
more than several times. Watched
Me too.
the miniseries
I read
by
about
Nick
it
Garris,
later.
but the book is still greater somehow in scope than the miniseries, which was not half bad at all. Pretty well shot.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I like the miniseries too.
The miniseries was good. I never read the book though.
It's a big book.
I know. I've read other Stephen King books, but I never read. Still new to me.
So where do you want
it's
to
a way
go?
of capturing the whole scenario that, you're just taken to a whole other level of science fiction with the whole paradox of religion. If we had what it would take to be survivors, that whole idea that everyone was divided between camps, having dreams and nightmares of two separate entities that wanted to rule over man's souls of the survivors. There was Randall Flagg and Mother Abigail, kind of crosses lines that are very possible in metaphysics of what will become of people's own spiritual state if they're taken to an apocalypse that cannot be controlled, of which the government was responsible. Those kinds of themes, completely legendary of him. One of his best.
I agree.
You too. That was a good,
Yeah, and we won't go too far into it now. Maybe in a couple of weeks.
Sleeping Beauty, the late is kind of like second rate compared to The Stand. But I mean, there was that time when you could swear he was a genius because it was true, Stephen King. I would cite definitely The Stand.
Yes, indeed. But let's get back to Out of Africa
Yeah.
before we digress too much. And you, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to, looks like you want to drop the gold winner in the room, and who's reading that?
If you want, I could read that one since it was written by one.
All right.
Yeah. When I first saw this one in the contest, this one I kind of felt I already knew was going to be in the top three, because she really delved into the book itself.
Well, not only that.
And the surroundings with the site.
Yeah.
And the sounds. She definitely brought it together in such a way.
Not only that, but she and I actually had some conversations after she wrote this, and she actually spent some time in Africa.
Oh.
So she kind of knows the country very well too. So that helps.
Hold it together really well.
Yep.
Do you know how to say her name?
I'm going to take a stab at it and say this poem is by Siba Billy.
Okay. And this is called "We Are the Scatterlands of Africa, Seed spread liberally over planet Earth." Kieran Blixen said, "I once had a home in Africa, and there the story links hands with my soul as I share the truth she came to know as Africa. This is not a land for the squeamish, passions run deep amongst tribes of many colors. As vivid in color as Mother Africa, this land that will not, cannot be forgotten. She is lovingly tattooed on my skin in invisible ink. The longer I came to know her, the more indistinguishable was I from her ancient visage. This is not a land to be taken lightly. It is bold, wild to the core, and infused with the dust of endless souls who no longer occupy physical bodies. Make no mistake, it is a land of contrast. Its people run deep, deep into the red soil and velds of this untamed land, with the zeal and spirit collectively enshrined in this vast arena of life. Their capacity for love is matched only by their smiles, finding humor in little ways that impact the most. It would be easy to romanticize this continent, and many have, lovesick with the charm of its ever-changing moods. There are thunderstorms, but then there are thunderstorms in Africa, ones who never fail to remind you of the fragility of life. You become mesmerized by the way the tarmac melts under the heat of a summer's day. Her summer rainfall so blessed, so welcome, the slight hiss of raindrops as it instantly boils as it meets the piping hot tarmac. Against all the splendors, let's not forget the sounds of Africa. Crickets chirping like their life depended on it, trying to compete with cicada beetles. The howl of dogs and hyenas, which sends shivers down your spine, the way your body turns to stone at the sound of a lion's roar. Add to that the cry of fish eagles and their song pierces the night air. This is where our ancestors sat around fires, sharing food, love, and laughter, where the joy of dance, all latent cries of countless women, and the beating of drums reverberate through your veins. Men and women in tribal garb, all at once menacing, yet so dearly familiar, tracing paths that led to food in their stomachs and an appetite for endless wonder at what might lurk around the bush velds and ever-changing landscape. All these things make your heart miss a beat. The longing for this land never dies. If I say to you tonight, come share a meal with me around a campfire, and let's try to figure out what is special about Africa, we would run out of time. Perhaps that is her sweetest gift to those who have come to know and love her. She stands tall. Her bearing speaks with an air of mystery no one could ever define. It is like breathing. You do it unconsciously, unaware of the magic that she feeds into your veins. Pure bloody magic. On a final note, let's focus once more on color, not the vibrant colors of her natural hills, mountains, and valleys, but of one's skin. It is irreverent. You are of her as she is of you, and only those who can cast aside the prejudice of history will feel the connection, as strong as it was when man took their first steps on this magnificent beast. End poem. And the quote that she used was quote number 2. Perhaps he knew, as I did not, that the earth was made round, so that we would not see too far down the road.
Awesome. Definitely awesome. I thought this was absolutely wonderful. The imagery and the descriptions just pulled me right into this. And I told her I've never been to Africa, and I actually never really thought about it, but because of her poem, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, and that's where she went on to tell me about how she spent some time there, and it just sounds, I mean, you know, in the movies and everything, and the descriptions you hear, it does sound like a beautiful place.
Okay.
It would be probably very, very interesting to visit. But yes, this definitely was, this one just rocked the house. What'd you think of it, Raz?
That it sends you straight to the continent and doesn't let go until you realize that what there is of Africa is very old and beautiful and somehow mysterious. And although we will never fully understand the continent, it's said to be one of the last links of what there was to prehistoric times. And that's captured in essence by the very landscaping, not so much the tribal aspects of the people, but the horticulture, the scene of Africa, that it's the most vastest, richest continent there is on the planet in reality of what life originally was like. Second, probably, maybe to the Philippines, some part of the eastern hemispheres.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. What did you think, hon?
Oh, well, I thought this was an amazing rate because she definitely brought the sight and the sound. And, you know, the one part where she was talking about how you can see a line and it makes your spine turn rigid, it made me think of the one scene in the movie where Meryl Streep, who played Karen Blixen, her and Robert Redford, they were out that day hunting, and she came across a lion. She kind of stood rigid because she didn't know what to do. She was afraid to move out of fear that he would strike. And that made me take me back right to that scene because just like that, the lion was shot before he could attack. And, you know, it makes you think what you would do in that moment if you were standing there because they're such magnificent creatures, but at the same time they're also wild creatures too, where they're unpredictable. You can't trust the nature of what will happen. And there's a lot of beautiful aspects about what she brought to the right because for many of us, it's a place we'll never see, but she did bring it together in such a way where it has its own magical beauty to it with the sights and the sounds. And, you know, in the movie itself, they did that very well, too, with, you know, focusing on the land and all the beauty that it has and the creatures and the people and the sounds. And she did that here as well. This was an amazing write, totally gold-worthy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Made me think of another book and movie about Africa.
What's that?
Your comment did.
Which one?
Ghost in the Darkness.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Ghost in Darkness. Now, I've never read it, so I don't know who that is. That's why
I don't remember who it's by either, but we'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
I just know it was Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer in the movie.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I see.
I went to Zimbabwe and all I got was this lousy T-shirt from Boko Haram.
Better than nothing. Do you read?
All right, you want me to read for Phil the Poet?
Yeah.
Phil the Poet wrote to the following quote, "You know you are truly alive when you're living among lions." And Phil was one of our HMs, and he titled this poem Lion. The thrill of the hunt, the roar of the lion, piercing the jungle silence, makes my heart race. The king stands majestic, his subjects bow before him. His magnificent mane is his crown, all tremble at his mighty roar. Husband, father, protector, provider, puts human kings to shame, leads by example, judges fairly, respected by his whole pride. I scan the horizon of this African plain, the territory of the king's domain, stretching far than the eye can see. in the presence of true royalty. Panting as he sits upon his throne, the African sun roasting the earth. But he never loses his posture. He never loses his crown. I try to paint the lion with my words, but they don't show his true glory. His power and grace can never be fathomed by men hiding in self-made caves. The sun sets beyond the horizon, creating a silhouette of the king, an image forged in natural beauty that no man can comprehend. End poem. And as usual, Phil, he's just awesome. His words are always, I don't know, so poetic, I guess. It is a poem. But I totally agree with what he said, too. The lion is a majestic animal. I have watched many documentaries about them, and I feel that this was an awesome tribute to these noble creatures. What do you think, Raz?
The king of the jungle really finds his throne somehow in Mr. Malone's words. You come to comprehend that it's no myth why he's considered the very top of the kingdom. And although this is an irrelevant point that certain biblical scholars speculate that the lion was one of Adam's favorite while naming them in the garden,
Huh? Yeah.
On a side note.
Yeah. Before they ate the bloody apple. What'd you think, hon?
Well, when I read this, I thought this was an amazing right because he talks in so many different ways about how the king stands majestic and how his subjects bow before him and his magnificent name and his crown. And I thought that was a cool stanza, but I like his stanza at the end where he talks about the image forged in natural beauty is one that man cannot comprehend. Because, that's so very true. There are so many things in life that the beauty is so majestic and profound that it is very hard to try to comprehend in your own words, your own vision, as to the beauty that's before you. Because, a lion, it's powerful, it's fierce, it's also majestic, prideful. It's a lot of different things that all are amazing and great. And he definitely encompassed that very well with his right. I really did love this one because it had a lot of sense of pride and beauty to it.
Yeah. I agree.
And luckily, he put it in our reading list, too, so everybody else could read it, too. And yeah, Glow Lizzie on the board said he is an incredible poet, Phil the Poet. And I'd have to agree because he's very diverse. You give him something, and no matter the subject, he'll just bring it right there.
Yep. And let's just say hello to Glow Lizzie out there on the board. And I see a message from Crystal saying she'll call in a bit. And I got a message from Deb saying she'll call in a bit. And I do believe that my brother Rick is out there on the board still.
Yeah.
If he is, he's waiting for my robe to open.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, shut up, she says.
Yeah, you two were messing around on the board earlier.
Not me and Rick, never.
Yeah.
Anything to socialize and forget all this Iranian tension on the news.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Are you going to drop our bronze winner?
That I am, and that I did.
And our bronze winner happens to be on the phone with us.
Yeah.
Raz, are you ready to read?
You shouldn't have a whole pinion ribbon that happens to be bronze. I mean, I didn't think I did that great of a job. It just would poured out of me naturally. But I'll read the poem, yeah.
All right. You're on.
Yeah.
All right. The poem's name here is Alpha and Omega and the Hyphen. A world that has never been tamed with the savage brutality which swallows the wild gazelle on the brandished field of the desert herds and the concealment underneath the copper Egyptian sun. A blotted cornucopia ravaging the streak marks of the UV bands beneath the sweated, heavy brow of thermal radiation at once unbound, profound, and sweltering the desert sandstorm before the wild thunderclouds quench, a seasonless of drought wrung. Africa blisters the possibility of earliest mammillary, being the home of the self-coronated lion and the hardest kind to pacify of the wilderness. Original biodiversification from the sultry plains, the Madagascar ensconced to the adamant richness of natural botany that decorates the high heavens, of jangled vines in the Congo alongside the fresh volumes of water, edging to Victoria Lake, sparkling a cascade of pantomime broderie where the sunlight hits the vast water deep and soak of the frizzy ablative subtexture. Decipher of the rare extinction conservation list which seeks out preservation on the continent from the man-made elements tipper of the balanced sledge. We come of these kings, lion, to predate the other living vessels of the animal kingdom who heed no warning of the alpha predator, because domination is the bestiality submission to bare necessity vanquished. What have the mind pondered of this Darwinistic approach to nature, for the theory of evolution and the infinite masses of possible variation could circumvent into modified reductions and truly being alive at every sense, the height of possible organic synthesis to the current basis, where life goes from here is in working stages, progressively non-determined. The prompt was, you know that you are finally truly living when you are with the lions, and comes from Karen Blexen's book.
Excellent, right. And yes, like the comment I said, this has to be the best one I've ever read from you or never heard you read. The imagery that you describe, from the jungles to the desert to Lake Victoria, is quite brilliant. And I also like how you kind of put a little bit of the deforestation in there too, and how man is destroying the natural habitats. This was just an excellent write. Well, very well done. Congrats on that bronze.
Thank you very much, sir.
What'd you think, hon?
Glad to humor the mind.
Well, I like the quote that you chose because you wrote you are truly living when you are with lions. And you're right, definitely had its own energy to it. And I have to agree with what you said about when you're talking about the deforestation.
Yes.
That's a big word for me to say. But yeah, I do see it as a right about life and the destruction as well upon.
It's going on
life.
worse in South America than Africa right now because the Amazon rainforest burned down a significant portion, where deforestation is clear there in that continent rather than not Africa. But we can't really permit this to happen. If nature loses a certain balance, what becomes of the alpha predator in the poem? I mean, that we happen to be that very species, the alpha male, the alpha dog, the alpha predator, because we're the ones destroying the whole planet. So we, in a sense, are more heightened violence than something more tamer and noble than even the lion.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
That is true. Yeah,
and he's considered the best of all predators in the natural kingdom, the lion,
Yep. Yes, that's true. King of the jungle.
Yeah.
And real quick, I'll say hi to Jascaran out there on the board. Hello, Jas.
Yeah, hello, Jas.
I do, Jas.
Where did you want to go from here?
Yeah, sorry. I was just looking to make sure I didn't overlook something. But yeah, I will read next The Silver Winner, since that was written by a woman.
All right.
I'll give it. Okay, and this was a silver winner from the contest. This is by Sherry Elliott, and the quote is, "Here I am, where I ought to be." And this is called, "Where Am I Going?" Where am I going? I do not know. Where have I been? Here and there, to and fro. Wherever life has took me in the places, light or dark, are all part of the scheme of things that life imparts. I can't tell you where I'm going, but I can tell you where I've been. And where I stand right now, is a place we should be in. Life has no roadmap. It's up to us to make our way. Life's a grand adventure as we each face our new day. Sometimes we get lost and there's obstacles along the way. Those times we pray and listen and let God show us the way. With every stride I've taken, led here by God's sweet grace, here I am where I ought to be, and in this time and in this place. End quote.
Excellent read, hon. And I thought that this was an awesome write. It kind of read like a prayer to me, like a traveling prayer.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling to know that you are where you're supposed to be. And, not everyone can say that. Some have been there and lost it. Some are still trying to find it, while others will never be there. I thought this was an excellent write. It also made me think of the fact that right now I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you think of it, Raz?
Where are you? Here I am. Where are you? Here I am. This is a great look on free conscious stream writing. The whole approach, the method, and the actual structure of the stanzas, what goes on in the back of our minds all the time is clearly expressed here on this poet's printed page. The canvas really, it's thoughts that have occurred to everyone at some point of where are you going, where am I now, is this the place that I should be in, am I standing yet still, no matter what adversaries and days that we have to face. Very sound type of proverbial approach to taking out the rhyme from life. So I would give this a grade plus.
Awesome comment. Did you want to comment, hon?
I just wanted to say that I thought this was a great write because her write speaks as to what we all do in life. We are always seeking and questioning. And sometimes it's good to reflect and question because, this is something I find myself saying a lot, that even the bad things that happen, it takes us to where we are eventually supposed to be. So everything I feel is meant to happen as it does. And this write definitely speaks that way to me because, she talks about being led by faith, but also I see it as a write about knowing how to stay strong and to keep moving no matter what.
Yes, indeed.
It's great.
Yes.
And now we'll
And now we should welcome Deb in the room. Hello, Deb. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. Good.
How you doing, Debbie?
Good to hear you.
Good to hear you. Glad to be here.
Okay.
You sound a little under the weather or under breath.
It'll pass. But thank you.
Hope you get better.
Well, I know I got your message that you needed to read and run, so we threw you in there.
Lightly.
Okay.
Lightly. Just lightly.
Yeah. The one you just finished, Where Am I Going? The silver winner?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really
Sherry
incredible.
Elliott.
The two of the stanzas really stuck out. Life has no roadmap. It's up to us to make our way. Life's a grand adventure as we each face our new day. And then this especially, sometimes we get lost and there's obstacles along the way. It's those times we pray and listen and let God show us the way. I thought it was a very powerful write. It's easy to see why she won the silver.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I wasn't sure you had tuned in on time.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was reading while you guys were finishing the last comment so that I could at least comment before I go. And I chose prompt number 8, In a World of Fools. I was, I think, to him, one of the greater fools. And here we go. Smile as all laugh.
Sorry.
Smile as all laugh. Wait a minute. Smile as all laugh at you now, Mr. Jester, is the title. Here we go. Glass mirrors display scars on me. You laugh strolling by a chalk line. As the scuff marks stain my body, eyes spotting colors of you, mine. You laugh strolling by a chalk line, and I sit just so that you can grin. Eyes spotting colors of you, mine. Echo of giggles spark a head spin, and I sit just so that you can grin. But now I stand and do not break. Echo of giggles spark a head spin. Voice a chalk on blackboard ache. But now I stand and do not break. As the scuff marks stain my body, voice on chalk on blackboard ache. Glass mirror displays scars on me. And poem.
Wow.
Gabby,
was,
you wouldn't happen to be stalked by the supernatural. I mean, this is like 2 nights in a row here that you're describing an incredible amount of psychological pain. So all I can say is that I hope when you're being metaphorical, it's not too metaphorical, but what's described in this poem is, yet again, some kind of psychological element that's taking advantage of the person, like the way they feel in those very words. So I would be sympathetic and yet somehow fearful of hearing the blackboard screech and understanding the glass mirrors, just the damage that this gesture had committed upon the narrator. But that's just my personal take.
Amazing comment.
Good, right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree. Yeah, this is a very deep poem of pain. I was looking at your author's notes. Everyone is laughing at you now, so who's the fool? Yeah, this definitely speaks of somebody doing some wrong to you, and hopefully karma biting them in the ass as it needs to. Yeah, this is an excellent brevity. You say you can't write brevity.
Well,
Yeah.
well it's a pantoum, so I guess it kind of qualifies. But I've been practicing. You guys are so good at it. I want to be better.
Well, you do pretty damn good. This was awesome. Thank you for bringing this. What'd you think, hon?
My pleasure.
Well, I have to agree that with whatever I says, it does carry its own measure of pain through the words. But as I said too, the world is full of fools, and the best we can do is smile to the face of that one and just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
This is an amazing right, Dad.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Did you want to plug Andrea's show before she leaves?
Yeah, did you want to, before you go, do you want to plug Lady A's show?
Sure. She's on from 9 to 11, and she's doing an Oscar Wilde quote. And I believe she'll also do some open poetry. And she's going to have my leftovers for me from Monday's show. So it'll be a little bit of a variety. And I appreciate you guys letting me plug it.
Of course.
Oh.
Yeah,
From
thank you.
shadows engulfing you completely one night, and then the next there's things jumping out of the mirrors and the glasses. You have an extremely vivid mind, Debbie. That's a strong suit in writing.
Thank you. Such a great comment.
All right, Deb.
Appreciate it very much. Awesome quotes, you guys. I'm going to go. Thanks for squeezing me in,
all
and much love and respect to you all.
Love and respect, Deb. Take it easy.
See you later.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's nice. And hoping that we're
Okie dokie. But it's not JEG.
no.
Raz, would you like to read for Randall S?
Yeah, I can do that, but I require a delay of maybe a half a minute to log in and log out and be on board with the page we're on right now after the link is sent to the chat room site.
Yeah.
Yep, the link's in there, so if you want to go ahead and refresh, it should show.
For, refresh the page. For JPEG, you mean John Gilman? I mean, this should be more or less my own routine. Or
No, it's actually for Randall S.
Yeah.
Randall S.
Yeah.
He was gonna be one of my winners in my contest that I had for What Do You Feel About Life, but his poem was too abstract. Twilight Views. That's what I read by him. So I had to give the medal and the pin to someone else, unfortunately, although he's a pretty good writer. Let me do Randall S.'s poem here, Zimbabwe Reflections. My soul is a dance to Bantu's mystic rhythms, steeped in tribal customs, long before slavery became our oppressed way of life. When my homeland was balanced with magical wonders, from the great Creator providing our needs to raise His loving children with freedom and grateful hearts. Now, greed and lust for power slaughter our culture, leaving us with demons of poverty and sickness and wakes of civil unrest. My tears burn scarred cheeks, each drop a prayer for another body, resting with no tomorrow. Our hope now lies in the shades of Akakias. And
all right, excellent read.
There it goes. Mapense se shurawe hujre yakaya. Alexis T.A. The night you leave, the sky breaks out in stars. They burn like open sores. The Akaki, scarred from private wars, still has leaves.
What'd you think of the poem?
That it captures, in essence, why too many nations in Africa happen to be socially deprived. And I don't think that's essentially right of the rest of the international community, not to try to at least modernize their form of culture, that it's up to time, rather than wanting any part of a global world to be anywhere behind, instead of exactly having the same commodities and rights of what we dream to be ultimate globalization. So the point here of all the starving and hunger and the lack of human rights that goes on within nations of Africa is deeply expressed that, in fact, if they need help, there should be someone out there in the international community who would at least try to set them on their feet. When it comes to Zimbabwe's reflections.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that he captured the very violent and terrible history of the African people with this poem. I also mentioned to him that it's also a terrible thing that the history is still being written in pretty much the same fashion. Go to one of the more depressing movies that I seem to enjoy watching. I don't know why, but that Hotel Rwanda, starring Don Amici. That just shows it.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle, okay, yeah, Don Cheadle.
Cheadle. Yeah.
He, it just shows that stuff's still going on in modern times. And it's just crazy over there. It's too bad that it has to happen. Hopefully they can get things straightened out because, as we've already mentioned, the country is a very beautiful country, rich with culture and scenery and wildlife. And just, I don't know what could get it to stop.
There's
honestly.
no sense for those systems not to develop up to a point of being right here on point with the world stage. Africa has a vast amount of natural resources that can be taken advantage by any one government that rules within the continent to provide for its people.
Yes, indeed. What did you think, hon?
Well, yeah, Randall's right. He definitely he brings a lot there, and it's true, like you said too, because there's certain things that we're not aware of that happen, and it's true, like you said, history still is right in itself, and that should not be the case, because Randall, he starts off with beauty, but then he ends about how the beauty is being destroyed. The greed and lust for power and slaughter and the culture, talking about the poverty and sickness and civil unrest. He really does bring it forth in many different lights, because the country does have its own beauty. But as I've always said too, man is always behind everything that happens. Man can easily destroy, and man can easily repair. But the problem is, it seems like man was more on the side of wanting to destroy instead of making something beautiful and keeping it restored that way, making it stay that way. But for some reason, it's more easier to destroy.
Yeah. Well, if you Google or Bing or whatever you want to do in a search engine, the most dangerous animals on Earth, man will be the number one animal on Earth that is. So.
The alpha predator.
And it should be that way.
Yep.
But it's true. It's very sad because there's so many wild, majestic creatures, and they have their own fierceness to them. But man, they have so many different calibers of destroying, more so than an animal could.
Yep.
Yeah, but no
Indeed.
species actually annihilate entire other species up to the millions. That's just man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And just because I am an enthusiast on the animal, and I am striving to try to help in any way I can in their preservation, I will let everybody out there know that on that top 10 list of most dangerous animals in the world, sharks are not even on the list. So remember that one.
They get it back right. Their looks are intimidating. And that's a big misconception, too. Sometimes looks can be intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
And that's enough to instill those thoughts in a person. So, yeah. Something to think about.
Yes, indeed. You're gonna make me read mine?
Yes, sir.
Okie dokie. I'll read mine.
Okay.
And the quote I wrote to is, the cicadas sing an endless song, and the long grass smells run along the earth, and fallen stars run over the sky, like tears over a cheek. You are the privileged person to whom everything is taken. The kings of Tarshish shall bring gifts. But I kind of focused on one part of that quote. Yeah, about the tear running over the cheek. And I call this, how much energy is used to create a single saline drop? A memory comes, triggered by something so insignificant you don't really know what it was. But here it is, hitting you in the face like a sledgehammer swung with the full force of a bodybuilder. A slight feeling of heat starts in your cheekbones. Trembling is felt just behind the eyes, and something begins beating on your eardrums so that you actually hear the sound of sheet metal being shaken vigorously. A pool forms in your lower eyelid until it collects enough moisture to break through the cage of your eyelashes. Then it rolls down your cheek, following slight imperfections of the skin, hangs onto your chin for a moment, then falls into oblivion. End poem.
Yeah. What did you think, Raz?
This is very descriptive on the fall of a teardrop, and all the adjectives actually make it seem that you yourself are being left in tears until you realize that one drop usually is a sign of a deeper depression, that what's lost is not just to you, but a very sense of knowing that we ourselves share a mutual sadness. And in those moments, perhaps nothing else can be clearly expressed in words except for that teardrop that brings down the cheek and then kind of falls off the chin, like Stephen said. He captured the moment perfectly of actual sadness.
Thank you, Raz.
Well, I have to agree. Everybody does carry their own sadness. Everybody has their own darkness too. Everybody has small elements to them that not everybody is aware of. And yeah, how much energy is used to create a single job. Sometimes a lot of energy, sometimes very little. It's amazing sometimes how something can come to you so quickly out of the blue, and then all of a sudden it hits you so hard. And then other times it just comes out of clear blue sky and it doesn't mean as much. I guess it depends more so on the moment, on the day, and how much it does weigh on one. Because some days they can be harder than others, and that's what I see through your words.
But it's deeper depression being released when it's just the one teardrop. That much I can certify for a fact.
Yeah.
I agree.
Sometimes that release is needed. For some of us, we hold it for so long, and then the dam bursts, and it has to be released.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good thing. Okay. I guess I will go next.
Okie dokie.
Mine does not touch on certain aspects that other people got tonight pertaining to the contest, but I still wrote for tonight.
Did you going to read your quotes before or after the poem?
Well, I will. Okay, let's see. I use the quote, "There are things which cannot be carried through, even with the goodwill of everybody concerned. The barbarian loves his own pride and hates or disbelieves in the pride of others. I have conquered them all, but I am standing amongst graves. Here I am where I ought to be, and perhaps he knew, as I did not, that the earth was made round so that we would not see too far down the road."
Cool.
Yeah, I have my own way of bringing them into words. And I call this fortitude renewal. Masks are a place of comfort for some, a place of disguise. Reflection with oneself is recognition that will keep one honest. Hands of time are the designs of color you create. Here I am, where I ought to be. I have conquered them all. The barbarian loves his own pride and hates or disbelieves in the pride of others. Perhaps he knew, as I did not, that the earth was made round so that we will not see too far down the road. Though I am standing amongst graves, my heart longs for yesterdays of nevermore. The frozen heart is walking through the air, silent tears cried often. Death's hand touches mine, not to take breath, but whisper into stone, it's not time. As yesterday is gone, today is all that is known. Scrapbook's requiem offer stillness in a world of noise. Undisturbed flux of movement writes pages of enlightenment through ordinary days. Winds of truth whisper, speaking of journeys sought through familiarity. There are things which cannot be carried through, even with the goodwill of everybody concerned, as the devouring winds howl, and echoes like screaming souls of ageless and timeless days. And fumbled a little.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah,
We're human,
I know.
unfortunately. Yeah, I thought that this really hits home because I see so much in your words, and I see how you talk about some of the stuff that we've been through together in the years that we've been together, and we somehow make it through it. And your words just always say so much. This is beautiful, and there's so much that touches home with this, like the mask that you and I both know we wear when we're not at home, when we go out. And the barbarian, we know too many of those. But this is just a very powerful right, hon. You're welcome. What do you think, Raz?
Extremely observant on the condition of human nature, that no matter the adversity, what we strive most is to somehow survive every challenge that life throws along the way. But what I find most interesting in all these metaphors, which are very well crafted, is the very end stanza that there's a certain mystery, not so much that has anything to do with humanity, but nature, and that perhaps it's not an utter illusion that you can hear spirits and gone souls in the howling of the wind that have stood on since timeless day. I very much like that observation point, And I've been there in the past during hurricanes, that there is this call in the wind that's completely not natural and almost spiritual echo of all that has come to pass, and it's very raw. So I would grade this to be an excellent write. Good work, Kate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome comment.
Yeah. Let me grab the next one here. And here. This one.
Okie doke.
Did you want Raz to read?
We have Raz read for Cool Penguin.
Yeah. Now.
I like that username.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's kind of cute. Cool Penguin. Yeah, would you like to read for Cool Penguin there, Raz?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind reading for Cool Penguin. Does he know the Joker? If he's actually the Penguin?
I don't know.
Let me place myself on the board here for a second. I have to keep logging in and out to reach the links. All right. African Still by Koali Penguin. Koali Penguin. African Still. Sun-kissed grass rustles simply, and wind blisters in its chilling way. But deep beneath the pastel sky, and the weary star of earth, the wild free beasts who roam, silent in their wisdom. Words needn't be spent in small talk. Nervous chatter such as the monkeys who hang like vines, picking the berry bugs from kingdoms unknown, have no use to the kings. Ocean eyes and moist noses twitch from disrupting campfire drumming, stalking, dancing, chimes of birthing bells. Pink cheeks, lips, cloth introduced to the earthy homeland of gold and silver that lives in the aptitude of stillness. And the prompt here says that no domestic animals could really still be considered to be wild. Civilized people have lost this aptitude of knowing calmness and rest, of which even nature has always known for a fact. And by accepting this, then perhaps we would know peace. And that's a quote from Out of Africa, the writer Brenna.
Indeed. And what'd you think of it?
That she essentially captures a kind of liquidy feel of how Africa in itself is an abstraction of nature reaching what it's always been for years, and there's nothing violent there. Even in the wildest storms, you know that there's a certain stillness within Africa that all has always been the way it seems even now, of no purport but life going on in all of its wonderful mimicries.
Agreed. Hang on one second. Got to get back to there. Sorry, doing a little multitasking myself. Yes, I definitely thought that this was a cool take on the quote. There's beautiful imagery throughout this that would have actually brought me back to Africa if I had ever been. But the last stanza to me kind of speaks maybe a little bit about evolution too, going from nudity to being clothed, I think is what I see there. Yeah, I thought this was excellent. What do you think, hon?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty great write because, it does give a sense of home to it. It does carry its own weight and meaning. It definitely gives you a lot to visualize and think on. Yeah, this one kind of takes me back because my brain is trying to formulate
They
comment,
say
but
the deepest calmness comes from nature and deep meditation, you know.
yeah.
Adds to
Exactly.
the title of the poem, African Still.
Yeah. It's an excellent write. It definitely brought a lot. It definitely brought a lot to the quote. I can say that. That was, that was the one I was stumbling on trying to find a proper comment for. And I mean that in a nice way because sometimes I see something and I don't know how to comment on it.
Oh, no, it kind of leaves you speechless.
Yeah.
And I have that happen a lot. But I have to read the poem 16 times like Joseph's yesterday.
Yeah, but you got it right. Got a very lengthy conversation about it, so you did fine.
Yeah.
This is great. Did you find what I asked you for?
I did. I found something, I think. I hope. Yeah. I think it fits quote number 9.
Number 9. Oh, okay. Did you want to do that? I'll look for competition.
Okie dokie.
Drop it down for me.
Drop it down for you because I threw it in the topic board.
Oh, well,
I thought I did.
I did not refresh that page. I probably.
All right. Perhaps I didn't.
Well, then where's you put it?
I don't know. I might have put it in the wrong.
You pressed.
But there's
In the wrong
poems
topic.
going out there on I-94 and I-92, just drifting off within the traffic lights.
Yeah.
Blown all over the place.
They're all over the walls.
Did you find it?
I'm gonna have to just go to my page and grab it.
Okay. Do you want me
Somehow,
to just go forward
unfortunately,
then?
people with
No, I got
private
it.
tolls, if that much is true.
All right. This one would loosely fit the quote.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Never been read on the air before.
How about that?
But yeah, I think it'll fit the quote. There are things which cannot be carried through even with the goodwill of everybody concerned. And I call this, my stomach has dropped countless times since birth. Up at the top, I'm smiling. But then I am plummeted down below the surface of the earth, pain tugging at every cell, every part of my pneuma, as I am plunged into the ocean of teardrops I have been unknowingly creating since birth, and I add to it. I'm shot up again, higher than before. Laughter ensues, pleasure, until I am dropped once again into my man-made hell. As I inhale my own sorrows, I ask God, when will this roller coaster ride end? Amusement park coasters last 90 seconds at best. I've been on this for more than 49 years. And poem.
Awesome. What do you think,
You've
Brad?
truly proven that you've completely mastered the art of poetry. On my stomach has dropped countless times since birth. I've been through this feeling in the past that you're on that roller coaster, you're reaching the top, and yet somehow every time you keep going down the double looper, all that's passing is time, and not so much your sense of nausea or fear. And I like the way it's all been written out to be perfectly modern prose, not so much trying to cover things up than what they appear to be in pure realizations of what the years go by like the roller coaster and what your stomach feels like the entire time, kind of upset that you're not reaching anywhere else but going right back all over the ride.
Yeah.
This was a great take on life paralleling those very metaphors. Good work, Stephen.
Thank you, Raz. Appreciate that.
Well, this one, you kind of make one think that at first you're like on a roller coaster, because life itself can be a roller coaster. It can, with all the ups and downs and all the plummets that, kind of keep your breath away. And yeah. I have not heard that song in ages. Roller coaster of love.
Say what?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Who sang that originally?
The Ohio Players.
Yeah. But that's I think
Red
Red
Hot
Hot Chili
Chili
Peppers.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they remade it for the Beavis and Butthead movie.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Thinking about something I haven't thought of in a long time. But,
no, but Steven
yeah.
Tyler has really matured in those 49 years. I mean, this is not amateur work. This is someone who's reflected deeply on life to even mention the 49. That's what I really like about the poem. Yeah. Thanks for being professional, Stephen. You know, Robert Lowell, he was the founder of that type of poetry.
Oh, I did not know that.
Well, now we know.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. But, you know, I like the different aspects that you do bring. Technically, life is a roller coaster ride that really ends until it ends. You know, this is something that we were talking about, I think, yesterday, and I find myself speaking of often. You know, both love and death, they both bring the unknown. Life itself brings the unknown, too. Every step of the way, you never know what's going to happen next because, you know, I think if you knew what was going to happen, would you want it? If you knew it was going to be bad?
Oh, no.
But then if you knew something good was going to happen, then you'd be sitting there in anticipation waiting for it to happen.
Okay.
So, yeah, life itself is definitely a roller coaster. But at the same time, enjoy the ride, and hopefully the ride is not so terrible.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
I agree.
You never know. And I picked up Crystal.
Hello, Crystal.
Hi, guys.
You're calling the Ring of Fire
How are
lady,
things
Crystal?
at Chevron?
That's going to be every single time, apparently. It can't be a different gas station. What about Shell or Exxon? Can't be any of those.
You're not locking
It just
yourself
doesn't
in
work
those
as well.
shells. Are you?
I guess gas station sushi is gas station sushi no matter where you go.
Oh, no. That's probably something that's gotten a bad rap, too.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Maybe. But you go all the way back to the first vacation movie for that, remember?
Yeah.
Open up that bag and break out those sandwiches I got at the gas station. I'm so hungry I could eat a sandwich I bought at a gas station.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like avoiding your fridge at home, going for the gas station sandwich.
Exactly. Some things are a surprise. You never know, but some things it's like you're better off not wasting your money.
True. But I've heard that Sheetz, I don't know where Sheetz is, if they're only in Ohio or if they're everywhere, but I've heard they have some really good sandwiches. I might have to try some.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
I had them in Pennsylvania. They're so good.
Gotta check it
Except
out. We
for
got one just
Wawa,
down
where
the
the
road.
registers are designed for identity fraud. I mean, you don't want to shop at Wawa. All they want is your money, your credit card, and it doesn't matter if you like the sandwiches.
I remember that. Excuse me. Well, Crystal, do you have to read and run?
No, I'm good.
I'm still not that
That's
bad.
so cool.
Okay. Well, Kate says she's still going to put your poem in because you're here.
Okay. I guess that's the way that it is. Okay. Well, I wrote to the quote, "Here I am where I ought to be." And this is how that goes. It's called "Life is in the Journey." She scripted and scribbled out the lifelessness of her hand, wandering on broken bridges, cautiously trying to understand. Anger and rage in her quill, bleeding from her feet. Sun blazing down by sunset, ending her tired of defeat. The other side so close, so clear. Heavy rain beating on her face. Shadows of tarred darkness blinded, but she was determined to win the race.
dawn fell upon her. She stopped and realized life is in the journey. She was alive and fighting. There she was, where she ought to be. End poem.
Very cool. I really liked your view on this quote. You know, I am here, I'm breathing, I'm alive, so I'm where I belong. And that definitely rings true. As somebody else had written to the same quote in the contest, and we were discussing that earlier, where Kay was saying, what were you saying?
What was I saying?
It was just in my head, and I just lost it. It just went whoop.
We were talking about something?
Oh yeah, about here I am where I'm supposed to be. You had said something, and I don't remember what it was. It was very profound, and it can relate here too.
I don't know. Probably was something we're talking about.
Yeah.
Tonight, I mean.
Maybe. Oh my God, Crystal, I'm sorry. I don't know where it went. I would have to get up and go in the kitchen and see if it's there. But yeah, I do like this poem, and I appreciate you writing for the contest and calling in to read it. At least I did a better one than that.
You did a better one than that?
Somebody just said, great. I saw that comment.
Well,
yeah, I know.
Sometimes it's the best they can come up with, and that's okay.
What did you think, Raz?
That this captures, in essence, someone who's been through a spiritual trial. And when they wake up that morning and the sun's rising, all that's going through their head happens to be the truth, that they survived the night and whatever oppressive forces try to hold them back. And from there, have every wonderful intention to go on down the road and see what else life has to offer. So there's real hope here after going through a sort of struggle into finding direction with the quote, here I am. And all those elements do, in fact, make up a pretty decent poem. Very good job, Crystal.
Thank you.
Very good comment. What did you think, hon? I'm still racking my brain for what I was going to say, so I can say it real quick.
No, I know. See, now you've got my brain reeling too, because I think I can hear it, but I just can't remember it. But well, Crystal's right. You know, it does speak of a lot of different things in life. Wandering on broken bridges, and look, anger, rage in her quill. But then you also speak about when the dawn fell upon her, she stopped and realized life in the journey, and that she was alive and fighting. And that you were where you were supposed to be. You know, those words right there, they speak about hope and determination and the power to keep moving forward, because, you know, we've all walked on broken bridges before, and we've all been tested in life, and it's those moments that we have to find the strength within even more, because if we can't, then it's going to be hard to get back up. I definitely see this as a rite of discovering that you are right where you are supposed to be, and everything that happened along the way, it made you who you are now.
That's what it was.
What?
What you just said.
What?
You were talking about that, you know, things happen, whether they're bad or good, but they're kind of meant to happen to get you to where you are and where you belong.
Well, yeah.
So that's what it was.
That's true, because some people, they don't believe that, but I do believe it's true, because I believe in the butterfly effect as well, that everything sadly is meant to happen. If you try to change one facet, you're going to change it all, and you could actually make things worse.
Yeah.
So all the pain, all the bad, you technically have to go through in order to get to the good. And that's the crummy part.
Yeah. I know.
You got to go through the bad to get to the good.
And like somebody once said, if it wasn't for the bad. What's that, Crystal?
I just saw the sunrise of an expressway in L.A., and that's why I figured this narrator has reached. And whatever she's walking away from, there's no way anything's going to hold her back from finding safety by the end of that night.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Well, what were you going to say, Crystal?
I was going to say, it's too bad that with every decision that we make, we can't have like a Christmas Carol effect where somebody tells us what our future is going to look like or what our past looks like if we do this. Too bad we can't have that with every decision.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That would be nice.
It would be nice.
Oh, yeah. No, hey, you don't want to do that. You might want to do this instead. Yeah. That kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, but then that just goes to what I said, too. You can't change it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we saw that movie, The Butterfly Effect.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows how you can really make
a mess out of things.
A colossal mess, actually.
Quantum disambiguity. You mean the butterfly effect, right?
Yeah.
That's when you accidentally run into the possibility that you had more than one timeline, your whole lifeblood. And what goes on psychologically to anyone who runs into this insane scientific theory is that one single decision that happened in the past go on affecting you in more than one lifetime. Why the butterfly effect is not an established fact, but more a psychic phenomenon. If you pay attention to the sequels, you know?
Never saw the sequel.
No, never saw a sequel.
Well, the Ashton Kutcher was the original version, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I can't believe his friends just going ahead and accidentally killing one of their members would be the whole reason why his soulmate would be a girl who, in the end, wanted to only ruin him forever trying to find himself. I mean, this is like the kind of drama you try to hold back from not getting too close to people in relationships, but at the time you have people who want to more or less alter the course of history, or you having any potential of getting out of a system in which you're always going to lose there during your childhood years. Ashton Kutcher's character was pretty much booked. I mean, by the scene that he was in the asylum trying to take out the journals, that it was really somebody else's fault, not his, what happened and the accidental murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to do a show on that one sometime.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to mention too about Crystal's poem and what we were talking about with that, and talking about the bad things that happened and the good things that happened.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was that said, but they said, without, not an exact quote here, without the bad times, the good times wouldn't be so sweet.
That's true too. It makes you appreciate it more. But you've got to get to the right place first to be able to appreciate it, because if certain things happen at the wrong time, you'll miss it. You won't understand the beauty of that moment.
Yeah, it's true.
So you have to be in the right mind frame.
Yeah, and that's not always there, is it?
No, I mean, it's true, though. You can miss it. You may not understand it, but hopefully you will.
Yes, indeed.
Is a thing.
Yeah. Oh, and I have an announcement to make for anybody who knows the inside joke.
Yeah?
Wayne messaged me, so he made it past 5-2.
Oh. Yeah. Wayne hasn't been online in a day, so I reached out to him just to make sure he was doing okay, because Wayne Gent is always around.
Yeah.
So a day without Wayne feels weird.
A day without Wayne. It's almost like you're saying it like you can't say your R's. A day without Wayne means no vegetation.
Well, it's true. He's got his own chipper, upbeat attitude to him.
Oh, I know.
So I always talk to him every day, and it felt weird to not talk to him.
He's a fun guy.
Yes.
But he said last night he was supposed to call into our show, but last night he got too into the basketball game he was watching and completely forgot.
That's okay. It's just I didn't have permission, so I couldn't read his last night, so that's why we didn't get him read. But yeah, Crystal's right. It's an amazing one.
Indeed.
It speaks to all of us in different ways.
It was a very tough contest to judge.
It was, yeah.
You already have me doing extra homework for the American Horror Story series. I'm at Coven 2 and 3.
Oh, yeah. Gotta hurry up because Next week we're doing the Lost Boys in Mortuary, but the week after that we're doing season 2 of American Horror Story.
Asylum.
The week after
I
that,
saw Asylum. I think I might be able to do a piece for that.
Cool.
Yeah, that one was
Sarah
very
Paulson was really great in that role, but she's not infamous or anything for some reason. I mean, she nailed it really tight, how to be a mental patient who was unjustifiably committed into a hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah. Donna Winters.
Yep. So, where are we at, hon?
I will get the last one from the content.
All right.
You want I can let you read that one?
I need to read the last one from the contest. And that is called Sun Track by Hughes Face.
He won my contest on what is the meaning to life, or actually what is your thoughts on life. Hughes 3.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
That's a
assuming he
great
means
poem.
the 3 to be a backwards E. I'm assuming. That's why I said Hughes Face. I don't know. I could be wrong. But this is called Sun Track. And the quote that he wrote to is, "Perhaps he knew, as I did not, that the earth was made round, so we could not see too far down the road."
Yeah.
It's called Sun Track. I startle up such early to the lark's devotion, racks to the rise of the sun from hollowed zeniths and valleys of the east side. Jagged abreast the weight of my elephant-stacked body, ahead paths of orbicular day, riser with imminent nightfall. On ray track marked for the quick and big moves, paddling hunched in sprints to outrun assumed slow sun. My runs east, north, west, of time to south, all together in the giant's western trails, I'll say, I'll beat this time. Panting as the road tracks, I sip, I gulp, I dampen the hell out of my soul, unfazed. I'll overtake you, son. Life's a bitch by the beach, the ocean's mighty floods. It'd be nice racing on wavelengths to break the tides, ebb swift, mighty water fins. Oops, the sun had reached far west. I overhear him orates. There's a ritual of sun rising, repeating itself, so you'd heal to resume the course. Take solace in today's crest. Say a prayer for tomorrow. The night is ephemeral. End poem. I thought this was pretty cool. I like this. Life is a constant race. And perhaps if we were able to see the obstacles that lay ahead, we might just lay down and give up. But I also think this really brought to mind a Pink Floyd song. I believe it's called Time. Yeah.
It's a
And
good
you run
song.
and you run to catch up with the sun, but it's sinking 'cause it's racing around to come up behind you again.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the
The
Moon,
sun
right?
is the same in a relative way, but you're older, shorter of breath, one day closer to death.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what this poem made me think of. I have to let him know if we ever do a show about Pink Floyd, he can drop this as a pre-write.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was awesome. What did you think, Raz?
That here you have essentially the fact that whatever there is to life on this planet, it is solar based, how it's always been here. So when he goes from one observational point that the sun is tracking what we are essentially on a biological level, you can have the overall feel that through the fact that we share the same kind of energy, that we're somehow connected to that very solar phenomenon. What I liked about this piece from Hughes.
Excellent comment. What do you think, Crystal?
Yeah, I really like this piece. I have not seen Hughes Face in a while. Maybe I have so many followers. I try to pay attention to them all, and I can't. Yeah, I love his wording throughout this. I just kind of like it's great visuals, and I like the metaphors he did, like with the ocean waves or the sun. And the one thing I think I like about this, and no surprise to no one, I love the hope in this. And I agree with what you said about life being a race, but we only really make life as a race if we make it that way. It doesn't always have to be that way. We can just try and enjoy it, and then when the obstacles come, we just try to get over them as best as we can. I mean, if we're going with his metaphor of like ocean waves, you think of going surfing, and a lot of the time surfers, they'll just try and get over the waves best they can. If they crash, they get back up on the board. Yeah, I think this is an awesome one.
Yeah, excellent comment.
Yeah, that's a cool way to put it.
Yeah. What do you think, hon?
Well, I agree with what everybody says because life does carry its own energy. Life is always moving, whether we want it to or not. Mm-hmm. And time is always going to keep on ticking, even if we're not ready for it to keep on rolling. So it's just best to roll the punches and go with the flow of the energy that the day is created and life itself. I thought this was a great write because no matter what, we do have to take on the day despite anything that comes our way. And sometimes, what I tell you too, sometimes you have to own that stuff. Sometimes you have to wear it like it was what you wanted anyway, even if it wasn't what you wanted. Yeah. Because then you'll have an upbeat attitude instead of, just taking it and just not being accepting of what happened. Yeah. Because if you try to embrace it in a better light, then you'll be able to move forward in a better way too. So, yeah, kind of like playing the hand that you were dealt, even if it was a stinker of a hand. Yeah. So
you're saying like when one of our cats falls asleep on the arm of the couch and then falls on the floor and gets up like, I meant to do that?
They do that. They play it off like that's what I wanted to do. You see that. Yep. They brush it off like.
Totally meant to do that.
Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah.
Because, sometimes when we get handed the stinker of a card in life, it was meant to be that way, too, because it does take you slowly to where you're supposed to be. If you think about that with the things that we've all gone through in life, it takes us to where we're supposed to be eventually.
Yeah.
You just got to be able to accept that.
When life gives you lemon, make lemonade.
Yeah.
Right? Well, what if life gives you rotten lemons?
We still got to find a way to work with it.
Find a better one.
Sue whoever gave you the rotten lemons.
Yeah, then you'll be rich.
Yes, indeed. Then we take it on somebody else's personality, though.
Well.
Not the suing kind.
No, well, that's my sister, but yeah, that's not. It's all fun.
There's been a few places I could have, but I never did.
No, I know. But see, depending on the moment, though, people are human. They make mistakes. Mm-hmm. But some people are not forgiven of that and realizing that it was a mistake.
Yes, I know.
Those are the ones that need to learn how to understand the word acceptance more so.
Yeah.
Instead of always playing the victim. That's how I see it.
Because we all have multiple roles.
Yeah. We've got to know how to play the hand dealt.
Yep.
But technically, a lot of things that happen in life, it's stuff that we made happen, if you think about it. Yeah. So you can't sit there and blame other people.
Yeah, that's true.
Just saying.
I'm
just saying. Okay. I've got one more to read, and it's one that I feel pertains to the quote, "Here I am," where I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
Something like that. I'm not looking at the board. So that's "Here I am."
Where I'm supposed to be.
Where I'm supposed to be. Okay, yeah. And I wrote this to Deanne's contest. This was a response to her one poem, which was called "A Voyage into the Dark." So I call this "Saying Goodbye to Yesterday." Finding a place called home for the gypsy, a never-ending journey of restlessness. As in the end, does one know where they belong? Looking through the eyes of another, can they reflect love? Or is it different? One belongs where love blooms. Love given reflects the love received. One should strive to make room in the garden, for it is there that roots will grow. The blooms of love erase the negativity, fill the landscapes that thrive. The seeds whisked in the wind, gather on as they may. If not nurtured, the choice to flourish elsewhere must be decided. Roots that have grown give shelter upon the land. Through the storms that rage, nourishment of life granted will give peace if one tends to their garden's own. End quote.
Yes, that's awesome. And I remember you talking about this, right? Seeing that it felt you felt a little odd writing it because it's something that you don't normally write. And it's a little bit out of the box for you, and I can see that because normally while your rights do offer hope, they don't offer it in such light imagery. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see that, and I think that you also wrote some of this from experience too, though. Both of us didn't put down roots until after not even right after we met each other. It was after some hellish years that we finally put our roots down and realized that we are where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that in this too. But yeah, I thought this was awesome and beautiful. Very well done.
Thank you.
And let's see what you got in the contest, shall we?
Oh, I got HM in that one. That was a tough contest because there was a lot of great ones in there. I wasn't going to enter originally, but Deanne asked me a few times, are you going to enter the contest? So I decided to. But the funny thing is, the one that I wrote the other day as well, Boo liked it a lot, and I didn't like it. There's certain things that even I still write to this day that I despise, but other people, they see otherwise. This was one of those that I did not feel right with. It just felt different to me.
There's poems that I wrote that I thought was complete crap, and everybody says, wow. Okay.
That's weird to me.
Now, Raz,
I
what
hope
did you
it
think
was
of,
not that stomach-dropping poem on the roller coaster because I really thought it was real mature.
No, that one I thought was very powerful in myself. So.
Yeah.
What did you think of Kay's poem, Raz?
Saying goodbye to yesterday is just learning to finally reach the point of fully healing of whatever mistakes you made in the past, whatever others did to you, and proceeding from there, knowing that where you are right now is probably somewhere safe, and that you can draw from that energy a very positive message in order to go on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Indeed. And what did you think, Crystal?
A few thoughts that come to mind. One is, I think it was like a week or so ago or something, Deb was saying on Team of Voices that whenever she hears the word hope, she thinks of my name. Anytime I ever hear the word yesterday, I think of Kay, because how many times I have seen it in her poems over and over again, and anytime I see that word, most of the time when I see it in her poems, I'm like, yep, that's Kay. So, like, seeing it in your title, I was like, yeah, that works perfectly. The other thing that comes to mind is, if you think about it so clearly, if you don't tend to your garden, weeds are going to grow, and then all those beautiful flowers are just going to die. So if you don't keep up the roots, and if you don't even ever plant any seeds, nothing is ever going to happen. Yeah, I love this one, Kay. I think it's really wonderful. I just love how you started it, like the never-ending journey of restlessness. As in the end, does one know where they belong? Like, that's already profound to start with. Like, that you did really well on this one, even if it's a bit different for you. I like it.
In the title, that's a popular phrasing that can really stand out to have classical and modern overtones for the whole piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So for Deanne's contest, she had a lot of great writes. That one was one that spoke. And I think a lot of people chose that one to write to as well, because her write was more of an emotionally darker side, but I brought the lightness to what I saw.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And this was actually something I had written on paper that was waiting for its time to be released, because I have notepads that have a lot of stuff in them that are just waiting for their time, as I say.
I don't have notepads. I just have words floating around in my head, and every now and then they start forming sentences, so I start writing them down.
Well, yeah, I know. Sometimes you got these little things that come to your mind, and you got to write them down, or you're never going to remember it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, like for tomorrow.
Yeah.
For tomorrow.
They recommend dream
Tomorrow's
journals sometimes for writers. If you have ideas and your mind's working out passages in your sleep, maybe you want to jot that down when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, because if you don't, you forget them. You forget them by lunch.
Yep.
But it wasn't like me last night. I had an idea for a book, and I did not feel like turning on the light, so I wrote it down in the dark. I don't even know what I wrote down.
You have to decipher now.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. But I was on my way home from picking up dinner, and because tomorrow on Movement of Sound we're featuring poetry inspired by Prince songs, and I heard a Prince song on the way back from picking up dinner, and I was like, oh my gosh, and words just started pouring in. So when I got home, I wrote them all down. So now I have my Prince poem. I had a pre-write, but it was kind of
Yeah, I know. Well,
So,
no, it was a great write, but
Yeah.
I mean, it would have fit to one of the songs, but I don't think many people know that song.
Bat Dance?
Yeah, from the movie Batman with Michael Keaton
Yeah,
from 88.
1988 or 89, I thought it was.
I thought it was 88. I'll have to look that up. But, you know, the soundtrack.
Yeah. I used to have that
Tonight
soundtrack.
we're still going to party like it's 1999.
Yeah. 21-9. That doesn't fit as well.
No. I listened to a lot of Prince songs this week, and I've been a little surprised at the content.
Yeah, some of his were very racy,
Yeah.
as were his music videos.
Yeah.
Prince
So
was his own self-made artist. I mean, in the end, he only wanted to call himself the symbol. That's original, coming from a performer that had started a new generation, became a sort of Prince of Pop when it came to 80s music, and then finally ending it on an entirely artistic note of what there was to his career, that he was no more but a symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a very unique man.
He was.
He was. Very tiny man, too.
Yeah. Well, you know, when he wanted to be known as the symbol, that was when he was breaking away from the music companies because he felt he was a slave to the system.
Yeah.
So he broke free and did his own thing.
Yes, he did.
Recreated his image.
Then he was taken far too soon.
Yeah. You could say that about a lot of it, right?
Yep.
But, yeah, seeing as we got through all the poems, we already said what tomorrow is about. If you want to go into
Saturday?
Yeah, and the rest of the shows for next week, too, since I already have that mapped out in my little black book.
Sure. Saturday is Synergy of Love, and we're going to be talking about Kiss, not the band, but the actual act of kissing.
But kissing, mooch.
Yep.
Moochy smooch. Or as Brandy would say, mush mush.
Mushy mush, yes.
There's a contest going right now. There's a lot of different quotes. The one that I really like, I heard in a commercial, Clark Gable said it from Gone with the Wind. You should be kissed often and by somebody who knows how to do it. I thought that was such a powerful, beautiful line.
I know how to
I had
do
to
it.
use that one.
I know how to do it.
Uh-huh.
Does the kiss of death qualify as anything that I can include to the contest list, or only sentimental types of kissing?
Yeah.
Well, there's actually a lot of different quotes in there. I even put a snarky one in there. The one from The Simpsons there where it says, everybody's always kissing your ass, but I'm not afraid to tell you what I think about you. I had to throw a snark in there somewhere.
That's right, man. Wherever it takes you.
Yeah.
Yep. And then next Tuesday is next Mortuary of Shadows, and we're going to be featuring quotes from the best vampire movie ever made, in my opinion, The Lost Boys, starring Kiefer Sutherland and Jason Patrick. Yep, from 1987.
Other than Nosferatu.
Yeah. Nosferatu.
Yeah, that was good, but Lost Boys, in my opinion, was the best ever.
Well, see, there's always going to be that difference of opinion because I had some friends that thought the Twilight.
Why we have an open forum so everyone can discuss their viewpoints.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That was the cast too. That just kind of threw it all together and just like, wow.
Well, yeah.
Although not technically a vampire movie, I like Good and Evil in the Garden of Midnight or the Garden of Midnight of Good and Evil. I mean, with Cusack, that seems to have vampiric elements for something that just seems to be a law case that went wrong, you know?
Yeah.
That is a good one. I read both the
Voodoo in Louisiana and the Rainy Night and the lawyers connected with the Senate not wanting to prove that one of their own might have been capable of murder while trying to set up some bum or anybody else who wanted to take the rap. You know, you have your elements of the system becoming vampiric when it wants to cover up for its own, not being guilty of blood.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna have to check that out, and because I haven't seen it, maybe we'll do it for one of the future shows.
It's been years since I saw the movie and read the book too. After I saw the movie, then I wanted to read the book.
Wednesday is the next episode of Poetic Inklings, and we're doing Emily Dickinson.
Yes.
Quotes from Emily Dickinson.
Yes, I'll have to reach out to Joseph Moon because he likes to write about her a lot. She's one of the many poets he likes to write about.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
And
I have
next
one
Thursday's
quote to include with that, if you want me to throw in the quote. Before she died, she said, "They're coming for me, the fog. They want us all to come back inside." Those are her famous last words. Did you know that?
Interesting.
No, I didn't. We'll probably have to include that.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Yeah. Don't mind our sneezing kitty cat.
Well, what were we doing for next week's Movement of Sound?
Well, remember we were talking about last night, The Doors.
The Doors. Yes, indeed. Next Thursday's Movement of Sound will be songs from The Doors.
Yeah.
So we're going to
break
get
on
deep.
through to the other side.
Yep.
And then some.
And did you want to make acknowledgments, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just want to say next Saturday is Sky Show. I don't know what that's about yet. I got to reach out to her.
Storyboards with S. Darkholm.
Oh, I know, but she hasn't got that set up, so I just want to make sure that's what it's about. Because I know she has a show over at LCN this Saturday, the 11th, but she has one coming up next Saturday in our room, so I have to touch base with her about that. But I do want to say thank you for all the callers who did call in. Raz, Deb, and Crystal, and of course you all read. And then on the board there was Glow Lizzie, Rick, Jaskalian. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them. And then of course we also read from Sibai Bilai. I'm so sorry, I probably said that wrong.
Sibai Billy, Sibai Bilai, something like that.
Yeah. And then Phil the Poet, Jerry Elliott, Randall S., Cole Penguin, and Hugh Space. So many things. I'm sorry if I said them wrong. I really am. Kind of tongue twisters with names there. With Crystal, did she want to give a shout out to a show she has coming up?
Yeah, Crystal, do you have any shows coming up?
The only one that I know of, I don't know what it's going to be about now, but I have a show on La Cosa Nostra on the 14th.
Oh, okay.
But I have no idea what it is yet. Team of Voices, I think I'm the 21st, but of course that's a little whiles away. But yeah, those are the only ones I know of.
Okay.
I have a plug, not a show.
Okay.
My plug is Northern LifeLock. What you want to do is never invest time in Northern LifeLock. The deal is that they'll keep you secure, but mostly themselves for the $1 million.
Yeah,
All right.
that's one way to look at it.
Well, we have no more poems, and we have 10 minutes.
Well, the song I was going to close us out with is 8 minutes anyway.
Oh, so we have 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I guess we should get ready to tonight before I get the music, right?
All right.
And of course, anybody who is listening, Andrea goes on in 10 minutes at a Team of Voices. So go over there
If you want to have a little more fun.
Yeah. And Dad plugged that earlier, so everybody knows what that is about.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess we work on saying goodnight now.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We appreciate it.
Good night,
And,
America. Love poetry. It's one of the dying arts that need to be saved.
They do.
Yes, indeed.
They do.
Thanks
and
for
of course,
having
I just
me.
want to say, oh, thanks for being a part of the night.
Yep.
And I just want to say, if anybody wants to take part for tomorrow, the contest is filled up. But if you have a pre-write that you feel fits, drop it on the topic board and participate if you'd like to.
Yep.
Because
there's a lot of songs that Prince did.
There is a lot, yes. And dependent, I might put a second in case I need it. But yeah, don't feel that because the contest ended that you have nothing to contribute. If you have a pre-write that fits, drop it.
Like
Love
it's hot.
to hear it, yeah.
Drop it like it's hot.
So remember that.
All right.
So, okay, I guess our opening song I will use to play us out.
Okie doke, and that was, what's the name of the song?
It is String Quartet number 12 in F major.
That was Beethoven.
Beethoven.
So
yes.
definitely before 1922. So it is public domain.
Yeah. And for now, probably the permanent music for Poetic Inklings.
Yes.
Because I think instrumental works well.
Yeah, it does.
For these shows.
Yep.
So, okay, I guess I will play us out and say goodnight to everybody who's listening and on the board and in the call.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. And I'm going to play.
All right. Good night. All right, and that's our show.
That it is.
Our really big shoe.
Big show, big shoes. All right.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I guess we will say goodnight.
Yep. One last plug. Remember, Team of Voices' show going just started now.
Just start now, and tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, Prince.
And also tomorrow at 10, Sweet Pea and Team of Voices. Yeah, so see you still with us there, Raz. Figure we say good night to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had one more comment on the subject. Africa, beat my heart into your earth drum. There.
Awesome.
All right.
Good
cool.
night.
All right. Good night. Thanks again for calling.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.